Hey, so today's the day, Scream 6 Day, or as superfans might like to call it, or just smartasses like myself, ScreaVI, because that's kind of what it looks like the title says. But anyway, the film isn't quite out just yet for the public, but I was lucky enough to attend this early screening tonight. And what did I think? Well, Scream 6 gives us fans pretty much exactly what we could want from a Scream sequel, and it continues the franchise as one of the most consistent slashers out there, in which I mean that every Scream is a good film. And this one is no exception to that. But I'm not saying that this isn't going to leave anybody disappointed. I'm not saying that everybody is going to be super happy with it. I think most people will be, but I will say that I'm open to the fact that there are going to be a lot of fans out there who have built everything up and built certain expectations up for all kinds of crazy theories to come true. And they might not end up caring about what actually happens in the film when all is said and done. But I argue that we can't exactly criticize the film for not being what we wish it could have been, but we have to criticize it for what it actually is. So, what the film actually is this. Scream 6 follows its predecessors, especially in the previous two films, in that it ups the stakes in terms of gore and lore that much more. Seriously, some of the kills here are definitely going to make you wince. Though I will say that the violence all mostly falls comfortably in its usual format of the classic old stab. Seriously, this film is chock full of stabs, a lot of which that prove not even to be fatal, but there's just a bunch of stabs in here simply just for flair, just for a bit of fun. There's stabbing all over the place, and you know, what more could you expect from a Scream film, I suppose? But yeah, there's a lot of stabbing in this film. And of course, the film does maintain a fairly high body count here as well. Ghostface definitely shows up here to spill a bunch of blood, and if you are in this for the gore, I will say that you probably won't be disappointed, even if the gore and violence and that sort of thing isn't exactly the strongest draw for me when it comes to this franchise. It's more about the mystery and the fun and that kind of stuff, more so than the violence, because throughout the entire franchise, it's mostly just clean stabs and that's about it. There's nothing too creative here. This film, though, does up the stakes a little bit when it comes to some of the creativity when it comes to kills, but it's mostly just stabs, like I said. Anyway, along with all of the diddly-erdera, we also get to see a bunch of familiar faces in this film, some of which are just from one film prior, but others who are our legacy characters, such as Kirby Reed, who was unfortunately revealed in the trailers to still be alive. It would have been a fun reveal to find out in the movie, just like that, but instead, we all kind of know going in. That's okay, but it was a little bit annoying, you know, that's how promotional material works these days, I suppose. Anyway, Scream 6, though, does also up the stakes in goofiness. We get our expected meta commentary here, this time with our Randy film nerd stand-in in the form of Mindy, his niece, just like in the last film that we got. And there are some fun scenes of her explaining certain things, like how this time the rules are different yet again because we're in a franchise now, not just a sequel or requel or what have you. And so this time anybody can be the killer and anybody can be killed, and the stakes are that much higher, and it does make you actually believe this stuff for a moment where you're like, damn, is there really no plot armor for anybody here? Like, anything could happen. It does really get you kind of all in and worried for the characters involved during these fun little scenes like these. And it is also just that fun little bit of Scream personality there where, you know, they're talking about horror movies in a horror movie. That's always fun to see, even if it's been done at least 5 times before. And along with that, like I said, we also get a few moments of absolute horror movie cheesiness, especially in the second half, including the scene that's revealed in the trailer where the main characters are situated in the New York subway on a train surrounded by various costumed strangers on Halloween. This is a great scene of tension where they don't know who to trust. There's a lot of references to a lot of other movies. I caught the flower dress thing from Midsummer. I caught, I don't know, there were a bunch of Freddy Kruegers and stuff like that. There were a lot of different horror movie icons in there. That was definitely fun to see as a big horror fan. In fact, there's a lot of fun to be had in this film just overall, with a good slice of comedy in here as well, and quippy MCU style dialogue, all wrapped up in this whodunit slasher mystery, you know, kind of like every other Scream film. And that's kind of where my problems actually do begin, I have to say. If I had to criticize anything when it came to Scream 6, it's that Scream 6 boasts a bit about being a bit of a game changer, and it feels like it's trying to be ambitious. But in the end, it just ends up feeling like just another Scream film, with, if you ask me, a fairly predictable endgame insight early on as well. I can't say I was particularly shocked by a lot of the moments that the film wanted me to be absolutely shocked by, but I was just along for the ride, to be honest, feeling myself grin from ear to ear, unashamedly enjoying every moment. When I say that this film does feel a bit formulaic and familiar, that's really not too much of a harsh criticism, I'd argue. Just another Scream film, as I've said Scream 6 kind of is not exactly a negative in my books. And this isn't the disaster that it could have been, like we've seen with previous franchises, especially in the one film that this movie takes most homage from in Jason Takes Manhattan. This isn't Ghostface Takes Manhattan in an equivalent way, but this is Ghostface Takes Manhattan in a really fun, awesome way, just how it sounds. And with that, I gotta say that Scream 6 or Ghostface Takes Manhattan is a fun middle entry into this new saga, as it balances its likable characters along with a great mix of believable levels of doubt and suspicion among our protagonists. Yet again, everybody is a suspect, as we all know going in. And where they go from there ends up just being really entertaining, even if it's not exactly treading new ground. I had a blast. And I also have to comment on the fact that I'm really impressed by the turnover when it came to this sequel as well. Being not even or just over actually a year out from the previous film and still holding up to this level of quality is pretty monumental in my opinion. If you like the Scream films, I cannot really see a way that you would strongly dislike this one. It's good. That's about all you could really ask for when it comes to this film, and I just had a hell of a lot of fun with it. And I hope everybody else has as much fun as I did, because I don't know, it's early and I don't really know what the consensus is gonna be yet. I don't know what everybody's gonna think of it. Maybe I'm gonna be the idiot that loved it and everyone's gonna be like, worst Scream ever, and I'm gonna look like such a fool. I don't know, I guess we'll see. Anyway, that's about all that I gotta say for now. I will be putting a spoiler review up after this. And also, before I go, I wanted to once again thank Playmaker Digital for allowing me to see this film early. They invited me and my wife to this preview screening. Always fun and exciting to see that kind of thing. They had all this promotional stuff as you went in as well, like, I don't know, like posters and costumed ghost faces, and one of the ghost faces was actually in person and jumping out at people. And it was fun. It was just a fun little thing, and then that's about all that I have to say. But before you and I go, please do that thing. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that shit. But for now, I'm outie. Goodbye.